Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Reese. This is their part number R201C. This is a drip cap. That's what this is. This is a piece of extruded aluminum. The R201 is representative of the profile of this item, and the C stands for clear anodized. It's also going to be available in the D finish for dark bronze, and the A finish for mill aluminum, A for mill, C for clear anodized, which is this, D for dark bronze, and G for gold anodized. So those four finish options. The C is pretty common. The clear anodized, it's more common than the mill finish. If you want the least expensive, and if an aluminum color is acceptable, then the A would be the way to go. But a nice consistent anodized clear finish is actually more common. So what is a drip cap and where will you use it? Well, a drip cap is, this one is used at the header of an opening. You can also do drip caps at the foot of the door, over a door sweep, or integrating a door seal at the bottom. But the unit that's 2.5 inch projection, that's the one you're going to see installed over headers. 2.5 inch projection. It's going to have an overall height of about 1 1/8 inches when it's installed. That's where you're going to put it. Why would you use it? Well, drip caps are amazingly effective at not only driving water away from the opening, but they're amazingly effective as in solving problems where, how is this water getting in here problems. So what happens is the drip cap, this one, is installed at the header at the top of the opening. A typical use for this, a typical application, is going to be a pair of 3070 doors on the back of a movie theater. Hollow metal, so you've got 6'4" OD. So it would be very common for you to order this at 76 inch in length, because it would literally run the entire overall width of the frame, install on the header above the doors. Not 72 inch for a pair of 3-foot doors, but go the extra 2 inch on either side to give you 76 inch. So you're going to install it up there, and what happens is that water hits the top of this, comes down, can't go back up this way to get to the top of the door. In the absence of this material, it hits the wall, comes down the wall, hits the lintel, back to the face of the frame, down the 2 inch face of the frame, then gets in between the top of the door and the underside of the header and just drips in that door continually over time. And if you ever notice, it will always be a rusting door, will always begin to rust, and the rust will be most prominent at the bottom of the door, in the bottom channel of the door. So doors will rust from the bottom because that water gets in there and literally pools and collects in the bottom of the door, and will just then sit there and sit there and sit there until it rusts away. Drip caps are the least expensive way to give yourself significantly greater life expectancy when it comes to the installation of your steel door and frame. I've had applications where mystery water is coming in, and every time it rains heavy, the carpet on the inside of the space gets wet. And I supplied the doors and frames on the job, and the client called me the job and say, the mason was here, the roofer was here, and everything's good. I inspected the integrity of the steel frame, door and frame. That was all in good shape within margin. Out of desperation, I said to the client, add drip caps to the header of all of these openings. And there was one in particular that was bad. The client did so, because there was about $20 plus the labor to install them. Next heavy rain, I called him. I says, what happened? He says, it's dry, completely dry. And it was just really amazing how a drip cap like this really just solved the problem. Somehow the water was getting into the top of the door, coming down and just dripping to a point where it would then hit the carpet, and the carpet would just act as a sponge and pull all the water in. That must be what was happening. The other drip caps that you'll see at the bottom of the door, those are small. Those are 9/16 half-inch projection. You couldn't, of course, have one of these installed on the bottom of your door. It would be a trip hazard, realistically. Okay. Now, the reason they're really effective is because It's abnormal the amount of water that can potentially hit the top of a door. Think of that same movie theater scenario. You go in the front doors, but then you exit out the hallways nearest where you parked. Well, it could be a 30-foot tall, you know, the equivalent of a 3-story building that's there, and you have all of the square footage above that opening. It acts as a big sail. It just collects all that rain, and it just comes down. So a door opening will get an inordinate amount of water exposure. And in movie theater applications, or large pet stores, or large home building, you know, stores, you'll always see drip caps. Always. They will always be specified and installed. And the Reese R201C is a very common one. There's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure that will allow you to review this item. And then the drip caps, as they go to the bottom of the door, and the ones that integrate with a couple of sweeps that are there. There's also an interlocking unit that you can use at the header as well. And we don't sell a lot of that R202 or the 202 and the 203 version, but they're really incredibly effective. We have sold those in instances where the client has come back and said, I need something to help me waterproof this as best as possible. And of course, weather stripping is not going to waterproof your opening. It's not going to stop a hurricane. But it's going to work in all other standard applications, okay? And actually, in those extreme weather events, it will be incredibly beneficial to have it because, you know, the last hurricane that was here in southern Florida, we were called out to review the weather stripping requirements. The condos on the first 3 floors were all thoroughly wet. The drywall had to be removed. There were no door sweeps. There was no weather stripping on the stair towers of the building, and the stair towers here in southern Florida, they're often not enclosed. They're on the exterior of the building, so they get that brunt of that weather. And it's not going to stop 142-mile-an-hour driven rain, but it's sure going to be better than not having it. And drip caps are really a part of that. So, listed in the website in lots of different lengths. This happens to be a 42-inch length, which in my mind is a bit unusual because maybe the client wants to trim it, but again, go the full outside dimension of your frame. A 3.0 door, you're going to have 40-inch. A pair of 3.0s, you're going to have 76-inch. 42, I'm not sure what that is because by the same logic, it would be a 38-inch door if you had 2-inch jambs, but nonetheless, it's listed in the site in lots of different lengths. You can order it in any length that you really want. Longer lengths will get costly because of the shipping. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and simply indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to ship the material out at, and we'll be happy to do so. You've got a countersink, or you've got a hole for the screws, which are here, a couple 3 inches from the end. If you had to take this and cut it down a couple 3 inches, you're going to eliminate that hole that's there. The next one's over here, then down. So if you want us to cut it, we'll be happy to do so. Give you that hole location at the proper distance from the edge and the proper center to center all the way down. I would certainly encourage you to dry fit this, put this up, mark the holes, pre-drill your holes, make sure it's level and correct. I would then, with someone helping you, I'd run a bead of caulk down here, a good bead of caulk. I would get that placed up onto the opening and have the other person hold the other end, lift it up, tip it, and run those screws in and get it attached that way. You know, get it up, bring it up this way, because you do want to prevent it coming in from the back end as well. It's water. It's going to get anywhere. Okay. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Reese products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I'm quite partial to Reese, and it's because they have a comprehensive offering of very high quality weather stripping, that their fit and finish for weather stripping is, in my experience, at the top of the list and exceeds the ability of others when it comes to presenting the material to you in an unscratched sort of finish. That's not an easy task. When it comes to dark bronze anodized finish, I prefer Reese because I believe it to be, I don't believe it to be, it is the most faithful to a true oil rubbed bronze finish. So if you're doing oil rubbed hardware, the Reese is going to be a bit lighter, show you a bit, gives you the sense that it's more gold coming through, as oil rubbed will eventually. Whereas other manufacturers have a dark bronze that's very dark, akin to black, and sometimes that's great. Sometimes people want that. But when I want the hardware to stand as proud as the $2,000 oil-rubbed bronze exit device, I will exclusively specify Reese for that sort of application. Any questions on the Reese R201C, drip cap, or any other Reese product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.